All right, so I'm going to be making a nice, elegant cabinet humidor out of walnut. And to begin with, I'm just going to start breaking down some rough stock. So that's what I'm doing here at my miter saw. And once I get these pieces cut down, these are going to be for the framing panels on the side of the humidor. I'm going to take it over to the joiner, make one side nice and flat. Checking for square on my fence so I can go ahead and do one of the edges and make it 90 degrees to the face I just flattened. And then I'm gonna run it through the planer, get it to the correct thickness. And then over to the table saw, I'm gonna start cutting down some pieces for the frame portion of the framing panel. I believe I cut these down to 2.5 inches, I believe. 2.5 or 2.25 inches. And now over to the router table, I put in my framing panel bits. And you can see the profile that it left on there. And once again, you can see the profile. And now I'm just cutting them down to length. Have a stop block set up right there, so I make sure I get them all at the same measurement. And now I've got that coping bit in on the router. And over at the joiner, I'm flattening another side and planing it down to thickness again. And now I got the panel bit in and gonna bring those panels, the edges of the panels down to probably around about 1/4 of an inch on the edges. And there's your profile right there for the panel. And now I got all the rails and stiles done. I'm just doing a dry fit here, just to make sure everything's gonna fit together before I do the glue up. And on a framing panel like this, you only want to glue like the corners, because you want to leave some room for expansion on the panels. So I don't put any glue on the panels themselves. It's only going to be on the rails and stiles. And after the dry fit went well, I went ahead and took it back apart, and now I'm gluing it up. And I did place some little spacer balls in there. That way it just leaves a little extra room for expansion. And at the same time, kind of keeps the panels tight so they don't wiggle around. Now I'm taking over to my table saw where I've got the dado blade set up. And I'm gonna dado the back portion of the style. And as you'll see in a moment, I'm cutting down, I believe this is for the back panel, which this will fit inside that dado that I just did. And now I'm cutting down the top and bottom panel. And now I'm putting a dado in the middle, because I'm gonna have a separating piece for the two sides of the humidor. And so you'll see in a moment where I put that together. And this is the back panel. It's also getting a dado down the center, so that dividing piece will fit into there. So that's the bottom piece right there with the two side panels. I put a dado on the bottom part of the panels as well, and this bottom panel will fit in there. And clamping it up. Once I get it clamped up, I'm gonna get some of that glue squeeze out, clean it off. Putting a few pins in there. All right, and now I'd already cut down some veneered pieces down to 3/16 of an inch of the Spanish cedar. And I'm using a stop block once again just to get all these cut down right quick. And these will be lining the inside of the humidor. And as you can see here, I will cover all the pieces of the inside of the humidor with Spanish cedar. And like I said, that's going to be 3/16 of an inch thick. And clamping it all down. Make sure there's good even contact all the way across so the glue can dry. And this is a center divider that I'm making. Making it out of plywood again, putting some pocket holes on there. And now I'm putting that together. And the reason why I'm doing it like this is because it gives me something that I can glue, not glue, something I can put the undermount slides on. And this will also, like I said, be the separator for the two sides of the humidor. And I will go back and veneer this over with Spanish cedar as well. And obviously the spaces in between these slats right here, that's what's going to allow the humidity to go throughout the humidor. And now I'm getting ready to glue in that center divider. And now I'm cutting down some more pieces of walnut. This is going to be for the face frame of the front of the humidor. And I'm going to use my biscuit cutter here to put some biscuit slots in there. And I will put them on the frame pieces as well. And they'll just make it easier to get this glued on. Get it, make sure it lines up and everything so I don't have to fight it. because obviously once you put glue on there, it's going to be slippery, but with the biscuits, it'll help keep it in place a little bit better. And applying glue and biscuits into this frame piece. And as you can see, I've already got one side glued and clamped on. And now I'm going to do the other side. And clamping that up. And that right there, I'm just showing you the pieces of the what I'm going to use to make the doors out of. And that's what I'm doing here, is I'm using the coping sticking router bits again for the doors, for the frame of the doors. I'll obviously have a piece of a pane of glass at the top. And at the bottom, I made another panel that goes in at the bottom of the door. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm actually gluing two pieces of walnut together to make that panel using my biscuits once again. And this is all oversized here, but once I get it glued up and everything, I'll cut it down to the proper size. And then I'll take it over to the router table once again with the panel bit to give it that nice profile on the edges. And here I'd glued up 3 or 4 pieces of walnut for the top. It is 100% walnut top, and I'm now taking it and I'm rounding over the edges with the handheld router. And since this is such a big panel, I didn't want it to warp, so I went ahead and finished both sides of it, even though I wasn't ready to attach it at that point, but I did so anyways. And it took me probably about another week before I actually put it on. And as you saw there, I was just putting some molding on. And then I actually forgot to do this part early on, so now I'm since I decided to add 2 drawers down at the bottom, this is going to be the separator between the top of the humidor and where the drawers are going to be at. And those pieces right there, I just put in there because I needed to lift them up to get them over the lip of the face frame for the drawers to be able to slide on the undermount drawer slides. And there I'm just rounding over the inside of the door frame just to smooth out the edges a little bit. And now I'm just taking some 1/2-inch ply and gluing these drawer boxes together and pinning them. And then I will also come back and put some little small screws on the sides, putting the bottom panel in. It's a little 1/4-inch piece of plywood I'm using for the drawer bottoms. Pin them. And then, like I said, this is where I'm coming back with the drill. I'm going to drill a hole, or pre-drill for the hole, and then put these little pin nails in there. Just add a little extra strength, especially for the shear part. And this is the Blum undermount drawers slides I'm using. And here I'd already done it, so I'm just kind of going back and show you what I did with the little jig. And for the back of the drawers, and this is for the front of the drawers where you attach these little dumahachis right here. It's actually the clips that help clip your drawer in place, and it makes it easy to install, makes it easy to take them out. And originally on the drawer faces, I wanted to just use like a little finger grip, and that's what I was doing right here, putting it at an angle After I did it, I really didn't like it. So I went back and I filled the hole in and decided to go with a different type of drawer pull, which they needed to be basically kind of flat because it was right up against the glass of the door. So I needed them to be pretty much flush. And here now I'm making the drawers, the Spanish cedar drawers, the cigar baskets. And I had to make 10 of these. And these are definitely the biggest ones I've ever made. I'd say they probably each hold about 200 cigars. So this humidor, all in all, should hold probably 2,000 cigars. And here I'm cutting down some 3/16 of an inch slats that I'm going to use to line the bottom of those drawers, as you can see here. Using a little 1/2 inch spacer there to get everything all nice and pretty. And evenly spaced as well. Don't want it to be too wide because the cigars might fall through. I think this 1/2 inch works out pretty good. And there's how it looks. And now I'm going back once again with some more Spanish cedar to create the drawer faces. And I really believe this actually made a nice clean look, as you can see. All soft close. And I thought for a long time on what I was going to use for the feet of this thing. And just one night I was just sitting there and I kind of came up with this idea right here. So I was stacking about 3 pieces of plywood together and used some cove molding to create this look. And then I just kind of staggered it and stacked them on top of one another. And then I don't think I show it, but I actually went back after the glue was dry and everything, and I cut the corners off. And once I did that, now I'm gonna put some of these threaded screws, which is where I will screw the leveling feet into. You know, since most of the time everybody's floor is not level, the leveling feet will allow it to kind of level out so it's not rocking. And now I'm going to glue these on. I'm going to glue it, pin nail it to keep it in place so I can put some clamps on there. And then I go back and put about 5 screws in there so those things aren't going to go anywhere. And just want to say on this video, there's a lot of stuff that I kind of left out just because I might have been doing it inside the humidor itself. And, you know, with my body and my head in the way, it'd be next to impossible to try to get that camera at any type of angle that I could use. Here I am using some Danish oil to stain this. And that was also a last minute decision as well. And for the plug that I put in the back of these humidors, I had to cut some of this out of the back of the drawer so the drawer would be able to close all the way with the plug sticking out on the inside. Also, what I didn't show in here too is I got some motion sensing lights, and I put them on each one of the cigar baskets. So 10 of those and 1 in each of the drawers at the bottom. So there's a total of 12 motion sensing lights in here. So they'll cut on anytime you walk by the humidor or open one of the drawers. And here I'm just drilling a 2-inch hole with the Forstner bit so I can put this little, I can't remember what you call these things, but it's where you plug the humidifier into the back. Also has some USB cords and stuff. And now I'm just marking for the drawer pulls. And using a little Forstner bit on the inside so that the head of the screw can be below the wood. So this project took me about a month, 2 months to complete. And it's gonna, the cost of it, if anybody's interested, was about $6,100. Really nice piece, really heavy as well. So it'll be going to a new home pretty soon. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Got any questions, just hit me up and ask me. Do the best I can to answer. Thank you for watching.